Okay, we're going to take a look at the interactions menu. The interactions menu allows you to directly interact with the player ships. We'll open it up and take a look. So, the first one is messages. In this one, I've given a drop-down menu of different messages that you can send through to the comms console. One or two also give you pop-ups as well. So, for example, if I click that sim aborted, it will give a pop-up to all players saying simulation aborted. We've used it in the TSN RP community to have like war games, and then we said, oh, just a minute, we need to break them off and move off onto a proper mission now, just to kind of create a little bit of immersion. There's also messages that come through on the comms console itself, so you can see this when the sim aborted one was sent. This comms message came through. Okay, so you can see how I was sending some earlier. Here's one that says new sensor contacts detected. Then there was transfer complete and initiating data transfer and distress call detected. These all just correspond with these buttons. So I could, for example, say, right, you've docked at a station, we're going to transfer the cargo across. The comms will get that message initiating cargo transfer. And then after a set period of time, however long you want, you can say transfer complete. Again, the comms will get that message and it'll say transfer complete. I've not really expanded on these since I added them. We don't usually use them a lot in the TSN RP community. However, I did look at adding some more in so that you could have some stock messages. They were actually added in before you could send comms via the GM console. So they're kind of left over from that, and I never really removed them. They're there if you want to use them anyway. The next one is the supply menu. This allows you to add or remove all these different supplies. So you can see it says add ordnance. If you click on that, it says remove ordnance. And it works by indicating whether you're going to add ordnance or remove ordnance. So for example, I want to select the TSN Sabre and I want to give it a few extra homing torpedoes. So if I go to the helm screen, you can see it's currently got 8 homing torpedoes. You can't overstock it. So if I click once and then click twice and go back to helm, you can see now it's got 10 homing torpedoes. Cycling it to remove ordnance, I can remove those homing torpedoes. 1, 2, and now you can see it's back down to 8. I could take away ordnance, like for example, I want you to drop off 2 nuclear torpedoes at this station for a particular reason. They need a resupply, so I could remove the 2 nuclear torpedoes when it's docked, and the inventory will go down as well. Same with energy, you can add or remove the 100 energy, so I could remove the energy from the Sabre. So if I go to engineering, you can see now we're down to 500 energy, or I could add extra energy on. If we go back to engineering, we're back up to 940 energy. Okay, the next one is this repairs or damage. It allows you to directly repair a player ship or damage a player ship. So obviously the repair will repair all the nodes for beams, torpedoes, all of the casualties that have been taken in DAMCON Team 0, 1, 2, or 1 or 2. Although they're labelled 1, 2 or 3 in engineering, Damage Control Team 2 is actually Damage Control Team 1, and Damage Control Team 1 is 0 in the mission script. So it just corresponds to that instead. You could also damage the ship, so for example I could damage the torpedoes. If we go back to engineering, you can see the torpedo systems have taken damage here and here. The final one is random damage, so I could set, for example, damage on for the TSN Sabre, and it will say damage TSN Sabre, and then what happens is it goes through a cycle of just randomly damaging ship systems on the TSN Sabre. You can use that to kind of generate the idea that there's some kind of fault or there's some kind of virus running through the ship. It's whatever kind of idea or story reason you can come up with. So you can see it's just randomly damaged the rear shields. It can really cause hassle. So for example, if the ship entered the Yellow Nebula and you wanted to say, well, that Yellow Nebula is going to corrode your systems and you're going to get feedback loops and things like that, you can set this going. We've used that quite a few times to theme some of our missions with these issues cropping up. Ships that have been in service for a while will get random damage or something like that. To switch it off, you click the damage saber button and it will switch it off. Obviously, if you select another ship, it will come up with their name, and again you select their ship and it will switch it off. You can also set them all on, so all the names come up, and then for example if I wanted it to stop on just the saber, I could click on just the saber and it will switch it off. And then, so for example, I could have all those ships being damaged, but the saber and the one that I've just clicked, I can't remember which one it was, the hunter, wouldn't be taking damage. And then obviously I can switch them all off like that, and they'll stop taking damage. Next one, sensors. So this allows you to reduce and increase the sensor range to the sensor ranges that you can program into the mission script. You can either do it without a mission, so you could do it silently, as it were, or you could do it with a message. So if I click sensors to 1100, it comes up with the sensors disrupted, and then if I click to unlimited, it'll change it to a restored message, just so that they know what's going on. Or I can do it without the message, so if I click this one now, it doesn't actually send any message whatsoever to indicate that the sensors have been reduced. Boarding actions, the next one. So boarding actions is a way for you to simulate intruders on a TSN ship. In the menu you can select which ship will have the intruders. Obviously we've only got the TSN Sabre, so I'll be selecting the TSN Sabre, and it starts off as a chain of events. One is engineering systems will start to get damaged. Secondly, there'll be comms messages that are popping up with information about what is happening. So if I go to TSN Sabre and then go into comms, you can see it pops up saying that they've had a hull breach and Marines are moving to respond. You also get this alert, the intruder alert, and then this starts taking damage across the ship. It's random damage as if there's intruders moving through the ship, and the dam control teams can move to repair them. And after a certain amount of time, there's a little kind of numbers game going on in the background, which is happening between a set number that indicates the number of Marines and like a number of the attack strength. So that's constantly going on in the background while damage continues to be taken. And then eventually, if we just leave it running for a second, we'll get a pop-up message saying that the intruders have been repelled. Okay, here we go. So there's that message. Boarders have been successfully repelled. We have casualties though. We're down to 8 combat ready Marines. So if they take another boarding action, that same cycle will play through, but this time they've got a lower number of Marines to combat it. So I can set it off again. It will play through the same system, but this time the intruders have a little bit more strength to them, and the Marines have less strength. And what happens is if the Marine value hits 0, then the intruders cause a massive amount of damage before they eventually leave. They just get to kind of run riot across the ship. Okay, just going back to this very quickly, you can see we've got automated defense systems active. That's because there's no Marines there, and then after a little bit of time the boarders will evacuate the ship. They'll leave the ship after causing massive amounts of damage. Okay, that's that one. Next one is scan text. So this allows you to change the scan text on allied ships and things like that. Okay, if I go here and for example on this one I could go like chemical leak. So there we go. Hazardous chemical elements emanating from the hull. So it just adds extra things that are going on there. Okay, the station scan text you can't actually use on these stations because they don't have scan text, but you can use on stations spawned as neutrals. So for example here I could set it and it could call it a Denobite refinery. So when that updates, here we go, Denobite deposits detected. and you've got metal deposits detected.